In the cold silence of deep space, a single human ship floated near a dead planet. The pilot, Ray Carter, was not a hero, not a soldier, not even a captain. He was just a repairman, an engineer who searched wrecks to survive. But today, he found something strange, something that would change everything. Ray's scanner beeped softly, showing signs of a crash site nearby. It was an alien vessel, big and broken, lost in the dust of space. Ray's ship connected with the wreckage, and he entered through a damaged hatch. Darkness surrounded him, only his helmet light cutting through the shadows. The air inside was thin and cold, and the walls were burnt and broken. He stepped over fallen beams, shattered glass, and dead. Silence. The ship was clearly attacked or sabotaged. But by who? He didn't know. He just hoped the ship's data core was still intact so he could sell it. As he moved deeper, something made him stop. A soft sound, like a breath or a whisper, came from behind a sealed door. Ray tilted his head, unsure if it was his mind playing tricks. But then he heard it again, a faint soft cry, like someone trying to speak. He forced the door open with his tools, metal creaking under pressure. And there she was, a young alien girl, lying on the floor, her body still, her eyes wide open. She looked no older than a human teenager, with silver blue skin and glowing eyes. Her legs did not move, her arms barely shifted. She was paralyzed. Ray stepped back, shocked and unsure what to do. She blinked slowly, looking right at him. Her lips moved but no words came. He scanned her body with a handheld device. It showed nerve damage, spinal trauma. She was alive, barely, but she had been left behind. Her people had abandoned her, left her to die in the cold ruin of space. Ray knelt beside her, his voice calm but confused. Why did they leave you here?" he whispered. The girl's lips trembled, and she tried to speak again. A broken whisper came out. "Help. Ami." Ray's chest tightened. This wasn't just salvage anymore. This was a life. He looked around, knowing time was short. Whoever destroyed this ship might come back, or worse, maybe they were still watching. He lifted her gently, wrapping her in a thermal blanket. She was light, weightless almost, her head resting on his shoulder. As he carried her back through the wreck, his mind raced with questions. What species was she? Why did they abandon her? Was she dangerous? But as she looked up at him, eyes full of pain and fear, he didn't feel danger. He felt something else, anger at those who left her, and a strange sense of duty. He reached his ship, placed her in the med bay, and started emergency treatment. She watched him the whole time, never blinking, never speaking more than a word. Then, as he adjusted the oxygen mask on her face, she touched his hand weakly, her voice, barely more than a breath, said, "You came back for me." Ray looked at her, stunned. "I didn't even know you were here," he replied softly. "But I'm not leaving you." Outside, alarms flashed. Something moved in the shadows of the wreck. Another ship? A drone? He didn't wait to find out. Ray jumped into the cockpit, set full power to engines, and took off. The ship shook as it escaped the wreck. Flying into the stars, the alien girl lay silently in the med bay, her eyes slowly closing. Ray checked the scanner. Someone was following them, but he didn't care. He looked back at her one more time and said, "Don't worry, little one. I've got you now." The stars stretched ahead, unknown and full of danger. Ray didn't know who she really was, or what trouble she would bring. But deep in his heart, something had changed. He had found more than just wreckage. He had found someone worth saving, and he wasn't going to let her go. Ray didn't sleep that night. He sat in his ship's med bay, watching over the alien girl. She was still weak, barely moving, her breathing slow but steady. She looked peaceful now, but that peace felt like a lie. Every few minutes, he checked the scanners. Whoever had followed them from the wreck had disappeared. But Ray knew space was never truly safe, especially with someone like her on board. She was a mystery, and mysteries in space were dangerous. Ray walked to the corner and opened a ration pack. He wasn't hungry, but eating helped him think. Why would anyone leave a child behind? Even in war, even in panic, you don't abandon your own. He looked at her again. She was different, no doubt. Her skin shimmered softly under the medbay lights. Her hair was a mix of silver and blue, flowing like liquid threads. Then suddenly, her fingers moved, slow, weak, but on their own. Ray stood up, rushing to her side. "Hey," he said gently. "You're awake." Her eyes opened slowly, blinking as if light hurt her. She looked at him, confused but calm. "Where am I?" She whispered. "You're safe," Ray replied. "My ship." He paused, then added, "You almost died." Her lips trembled, as if trying to say more, but the words didn't come. Instead, she looked around, panicked, searching for something. Her body tried to move, but her legs stayed still. Ray placed a calming hand on her shoulder. "It's okay," he said. "You're paralyzed but alive." Tears filled her glowing eyes. She turned her face away, ashamed. "I should not be here," she whispered. "I was meant to die." Ray froze. "What do you mean?" he asked. Voice quiet. She didn't reply, just stared at the ceiling. Ray sat down next to her, took a deep breath. "What's your name?" he asked softly. She was silent for a long time. Then, in a voice as faint as the stars outside, she said, "Zaira." Ray repeated it slowly, letting the name settle. "Zaira," he nodded. "That's a nice name." Zaira turned to look at him, her eyes tired but sharp. "Why did you help me?" she asked. "You are human." Ray gave a dry laugh. "Yeah, and you're an alien girl with glowing skin. But that doesn't mean I leave you to die." She didn't smile, but something in her eyes softened. "In my world," she said, "weak ones are left behind." Her voice cracked. "We are useless to them." Ray clenched his jaw. "That's not how we do things," he replied. "Not where I come from." Zaira closed her eyes for a moment, then asked, "Are all humans like you?" Ray shook his head slowly. "No," he said. "Some are worse, some are better. But we don't abandon people. Not the good ones." He stood up, walked to the medbay console, and pulled up her scans. Her spine was damaged, nerve endings almost completely shut down. But maybe, just maybe, she could be healed. Ray knew a place far away, where old tech and human science met. It was risky, secret, maybe even illegal. But if there was even a small chance to help her, he would take it. "You need real help," he told her. "More than I can give alone." Zaira blinked slowly. "Then leave me," she whispered. "I'm not worth the danger." Ray leaned close, eyes firm. "You didn't see what I saw back there," he said. "You were surrounded by fire and death, but you didn't scream, you didn't cry. You held on, even when they gave up on you. That's worth saving." A silence passed between them. Then, Zaira whispered again, "No one ever said that to me before." Ray smiled softly. "Well, get used to it, kid," he said. "You've got a stubborn human now." Outside, stars drifted silently, unaware of the small spark of trust being lit inside a broken ship. But inside, something new had begun. A fragile friendship between two lost souls, one broken by war, the other healed by kindness. And though they didn't know it yet, the universe was watching, and danger was coming. Ray knew the silence wouldn't last long. Out here, quiet meant someone was watching, waiting, tracking. Zaira had been asleep for hours, her breathing calm. She was healing, slowly. But she was still fragile, still unable to stand. Ray had set the ship on autopilot, heading toward a secret outpost light years away. Then the alarm beeped, a small, steady ping, almost too soft to notice. Ray leaned forward and checked the scanner. A ship, small and fast, was following them from the edge of the system. "No ID, no signal," Ray muttered. "Whoever they are, they're not here to help." He switched on the cloaking field. It wouldn't last long, not with this old junker, but it might give them time. Behind him, Zaira stirred. Her voice was soft. "What's happening?" "We've got company," Ray said. "Not friendly." Zaira's eyes opened wide, her body tensed, though she still couldn't move her legs. "It's them," she whispered. "They know I'm alive." Ray turned to her. You mean your own people? He asked. Zira nodded. They don't allow the broken to survive. She said, if they find me, they will erase me. Ray stared at her. Erase, he repeated. Not kill? She nodded again. They will remove me, my thoughts, my memory, as if I never existed. A chill passed through Ray's spine. What kind of civilization erases the weak? The sick, the ones who suffer. Not even machines were treated like that. Back on Earth, he clenched his fist. Well then, he said, let's make sure they never catch you. The ship shook just slightly, but enough to make Ray freeze. A second beep came through the scanner, faster this time. They weren't just being followed now. They were being targeted. Ray jumped into the pilot's seat, disabling the autopilot. Hang on, kid, he called back. Time to fly dirty. The ship dove into a field of space debris, old rocks, broken satellites, asteroid dust. The perfect place to hide or crash. Zira gripped the edge of her bed, eyes locked on the stars flying past the window. Why are you doing this? She asked. You could run. Let them take me. Ray laughed, short and sharp. I could also kick my own foot, but I don't do that either. Zira blinked, confused. Ray shook his head. Forget it, he said. I mean, I'm not letting anyone take you. The pursuing ship fired a warning shot, just a pulse meant to scare. Ray grinned. They're trying to be careful, he said. That means they want you alive. He spun the ship through a narrow gap in the asteroid belt. Metal scraped the hull. Sparks flew across the console. Hold together, girl, he whispered to his ship. Just a little longer. Zira closed her eyes, and for a moment, her hands twitched. Ray didn't see it, but something was happening. Inside her, old memories, deep instincts, something locked away. Her mind felt heat, light, something waking. The enemy ship closed in. Ray could see it now, sleek, silver, marked with strange symbols. Looks like one of yours, he said, glancing at Zira. She opened her eyes, glowing slightly. Her voice was calm, but deeper somehow. They fear emotion, she said. They fear humans because you feel too much. Ray raised an eyebrow. Well, lucky me, I'm full of feelings, he muttered, pulling hard left. The ship flipped sideways, diving into a magnetic storm. The chase ship hesitated just a second, but it was enough. Ray dropped a decoy beacon, fired a burst from his engine, and vanished behind a lunar ridge. Silence again. For now. Ray leaned back, sweat on his forehead. He let out a long breath. Still with me? He asked. Zira nodded slowly. Her eyes were dim, but there was something new in them, strength. You're not like them, she whispered. Ray smiled. No, he said. And neither are you. The storm had passed. The enemy ship was gone for now. Ray's small vessel floated quietly in orbit around a cold blue moon. Inside, everything felt still. Zira lay in the med bay, staring at the ceiling. Her body was healing, slowly, but her mind was full of noise, memories, voices, strange emotions. She had never felt before, not until she met the human. Ray entered with a mug of hot liquid. It's not alien food, he said, but it helps on cold nights. He handed her the mug carefully, holding it while she sipped. Her fingers were still too weak to hold it herself. Zira blinked. It's warm, she said softly. Ray smiled. Yeah, warmth is good, he replied. Out here, warmth means you're still alive. She looked at him, curious. Humans feel everything, she said. Joy, anger, sadness. Her voice was distant, almost like she was trying to understand a foreign language. We were taught that emotion is weakness. Ray raised his eyebrows. Then your teachers were idiots, he said simply. Zira didn't laugh, but her lips twitched, just a little. You don't hide your pain, she added. Even when you lost your sister. Ray froze. His face changed, not with anger, but with silence. He hadn't told her that. How do you know about my sister? He asked quietly. Zira looked away. I saw it. In your thoughts, she whispered. When you carried me from the wreck. I didn't mean to. She added quickly, It just came through. Ray leaned back, rubbing his eyes. Well, that explains the headaches, he said, trying to lighten the mood. But inside, something tightened. He hadn't thought about his sister in years. Zira turned her head slowly toward him. She was young, she said. She called you Ray Ray. Ray nodded once. Yeah, he whispered. She died during the Orion flu. Nothing I could do. Silence filled the room for a moment. Not awkward, not painful. Just real, back home, Ray said. We believe remembering people keeps them alive. A little, they stay with us, in here, he added, tapping his chest. That's the human heart. Zira blinked again, slowly. Her hand rested over her own chest, as if trying to feel something new. We were taught the heart is only a machine, she said. But mine feels different now, Ray smiled. Then, your teachers missed something big, he said. Over the next few days, things began to change. Zira started moving her fingers more. She sat up on her own, even tried standing with support. Each small win felt like a mountain climbed. Ray began modifying the ship, adding voice controls, softer lighting, and a med-assist rail. It wasn't a hospital, but it was something. He joked often, laughed loudly, and sometimes sang old songs. Zira didn't understand the lyrics, but she liked the sound of his voice. He called her Kiddo now, sometimes Little Star. At first, she didn't understand these names, but they made her feel safe. Seeing one night, as they floated above a gas giant, Zira asked a question. Do you think I'll ever walk again? Ray was silent for a second, then said, If there's even a 1% chance, I'll find it. Zira nodded. Not for me, she said, but to know someone still believes in the broken. Ray stood up, walked to the window, and stared at the swirling clouds outside. You're not broken, he said. You're becoming something new, behind them. The ship's alert light blinked once, just once, then stopped. They didn't notice it, not yet. But something out there had found them again, watching, listening, waiting. Zira whispered one last thing before she fell asleep. Ray, she said, your heart. It's louder than your words. Ray looked back at her and smiled. Yeah, he said. That's what makes us human. Ray always believed that the right message could change everything. One signal sent to the right person. One answer at the right time. And for once, he thought they got lucky. The reply came through a private channel, a voice, calm and welcoming. Sighed. This is Haven Reach, a neutral zone, safe for all species. Ray stared at the screen, hopeful. He turned to Zira, who sat beside him in the cockpit. She had made progress. Her arms moved better. Her voice was stronger. Still no walking. But she looked alive now. Like someone who had stepped out of darkness. They say they can help. Ray told her. They have medics, exotech, even peaceful alien contacts. Zira looked at him with quiet eyes. Her voice uncertain. Are you sure they are not part of the system? Ray shook his head. No markings, no records, he replied. Maybe someone finally cares. Zira hesitated, then nodded slowly. If you trust them. I will try. Hours later, their ship landed on a giant space station that orbited a dead star. It was beautiful in a strange way, cold metal and soft lights. Floating in silence, Haven Reach looked peaceful, almost sacred, but peace can wear a mask. Ray helped Zira into a hover chair, and they moved through the white halls. They were greeted by a woman with dark skin and silver eyes. Her name was Dr. Navarra, and her voice was kind. You're safe now, she said. We've been watching over people like you. Zira didn't like the way she said people like you, but she stayed quiet. Navarra led them into a medical chamber. Scanners lit up, machines hummed gently. This treatment, Navarra explained, can restore the nervous system using human-alien nanofusion. She smiled at Zira. You might walk again. Child, Ray looked stunned. That tech is outlawed in the inner systems, he said. Navarra nodded. And that's why we're out here, where laws don't stop healing. Zira looked at Ray, unsure. He nodded slowly. It's your choice, Zira, he said. I'm with you either way. Zira whispered. I want to try. The procedure began. Ray waited outside, pacing, hands clenched. He was nervous, hopeful, afraid. But inside, something else was happening. The machines weren't healing her. They were mapping her, uploading data, downloading memories, scanning. Her DNA, the medical pod wasn't a tool, it was a trap. Zyra's mind felt the pressure first. Voices whispering, cold hands touching her thoughts. A machine asked her a question. What do you remember of Project Origin? She didn't understand, but her body reacted. Her hands sparked with a faint blue light. Her fingers twitched, then curled into fists. Her heart pounded like thunder. Back in the waiting room, a quiet alarm blinked red. Ray saw it, felt a chill, and ran to the med chamber. Open the door, he shouted. Now! Navarra stepped in front of him. I'm sorry, Ray, she said, her voice now cold and robotic. She's more valuable to us in pieces. Ray didn't wait. He pushed her aside, smashed the override panel. The door opened with a hiss. Inside, Zyra floated above the pod, her body glowing with energy. Her legs were still paralyzed, but her mind had awakened. The machines around her sparked and failed, metal walls cracking. Her eyes were like fire. Bright and fierce, Ray, she said, her voice like a song in a storm. They tried to take my soul. Ray ran to her side, catching her before she fell. Her body was weak, but her spirit was burning. Behind them, alarms blared security. Drones rolled in. Zyra lifted her hand, and the machines around them exploded in sparks. Not with strength, but with will. Pure will. Ray stared at her, stunned. What are you? He whispered. Zyra looked at him, breathing hard. I don't know yet, she said, but I think it's something they're afraid of. Ray smiled through the smoke. Good, he said. Let's give them something to be afraid of. They escaped in chaos back to the ship behind them. Haven Reach burned slowly in silence, not destroyed, just cracked open. Like a lie finally revealed, as they flew back into space, Zyra held Ray's hand. Never trust stars that promise. Too much, she said. Ray nodded. Yeah, he whispered. But I trust you. Asterisk, the stars moved slower now, or maybe it just felt that way. After the betrayal at Haven Reach, silence felt different. It wasn't peace anymore. It was waiting. Zyra sat quietly in the med bay, staring at her hands. She had burned machines with her mind, but she still couldn't walk. Ray didn't say much. He just stayed nearby, fixing wires, adjusting controls, watching her carefully. She noticed that he always fixed things when he was worried. Now the whole ship had become cleaner, sharper, faster, but it still creaked in one place, behind the pilot's seat. He left that one spot untouched. Zyra pointed to it once and asked, "Why don't you repair that part?" Ray glanced over, shrugged. "My sister scratched her name there when she was 6, he said. I keep it to remember she was real." Zyra touched her chest. "I want to remember too," she said. "But they tried to erase me." Ray looked at her. "No one's erasing you now," he said. "You're writing new memories, right here, later." They reached the edge of the black zone, an empty stretch of dead space. No suns, no signals, no patrols, but hidden in the dark was a small moon, and under its surface was something rare. An old human alien medical lab, long abandoned but still breathing. Ray had heard rumors about it. A place where soldiers once healed, where failed experiments became hope. It was dangerous, illegal, and perfect. They landed quietly, no lights. No beacons. Inside, machines still hummed. Lights flickered like tired eyes. A single AI voice greeted them. Unauthorized presence detected. "Welcome back, Ray Carter," Ray smiled. "Guess someone remembers me," he said. He placed Zyra on a surgical platform, connected old wires, booted up dusty consoles. He uploaded her scans, then stared at the blinking screen. "If we do this," he said, "there's no reset button." Zyra didn't flinch. "I want to feel the floor again," she said, "not just with my mind." The treatment was ancient tech nanohybrids that bonded to the spine, human design, alien flexibility. Banned by both, Ray watched as the machine wrapped around her back. Soft metal sliding like water, Zira's face tightened, her hands clenched. Then she screamed, not in fear, but something deeper. A scream of unlocking, of memory, of power returning from the dark. Her mind exploded with color, earth, oceans, human laughter, her own childhood memories she never had. She saw Ray's past. Like echoes and something more, she saw her future. Ray rushed to her side. Her body trembled, but her legs moved, just slightly, just enough to shift the sheet. "Zira," he whispered. "Can you feel that?" She looked up, smiling through tears. "I can feel everything." But just then, the screen went black. A signal had been triggered outside. A shape moved through the stars, smooth, silent, watching. Ray checked the radar and swore under his breath. "They found us again." Zira tried to sit up, but her legs shook. "I'm not ready," she said. "I'm still weak." Ray knelt beside her. "Then I'll stand for both of us," he said, gripping a plasma tool like a weapon. Zira reached out, touching his arm. "No," she whispered. "Not this time." The lights around her flickered, then brightened. Her spine lit with a soft white glow. Human tech, alien will, and something new. She stood, slowly, shaking, but upright. Ray's eyes widened. "You're standing," he said, stunned. Zira smiled faintly. "No," she said. "I'm becoming." The door shook. The enemy had arrived. But this time, Zira wasn't going to hide. She looked at Ray, her voice steady. "You gave me something my own world never could." "What?" Ray asked, heart pounding. Zira held his gaze. "A choice," she said, "and the gift of being more than what I was born to be." Zira stood, not perfectly, not without pain, but she stood on her own feet for the first time since she was left to die. Ray stared at her like he was seeing a miracle, and in a way, he was. The air inside the underground lab buzzed with energy. Lights flickered, walls vibrated. Outside, the enemy ship landed without a sound. They had come, not to rescue Zira, not to welcome her back, but to erase what she had become. Zira turned to Ray. Her voice was calm, but firm. "I need to face them," she said. "I don't want to run anymore." Ray stepped forward. "If you go out there alone, they'll..." She stopped him with a look. "No," she said. "Not alone." She reached for his hand, fingers steady now. "You made me remember who I am," she whispered. "Now I'll show them." They walked together through the corridor, side by side, Zira limping slightly, Ray holding her steady. They emerged onto the landing platform, where 6 alien figures waited. They wore black armor, faceless and silent. One stepped forward, taller than the rest. "You were declared erased," the figure said. "You are an error, a virus." Zira said nothing, but her presence spoke louder than words. "You accessed Forbidden's power," the alien continued. "Human corruption flows in your veins." Ray tightened his grip on her hand. Zira answered at last. "No," she said. "What flows in me is something you've forgotten." The alien raised a weapon. Ray moved in front of her without thinking. "Don't," he warned. "You'll have to shoot through me." The alien paused. "You defend her," it said, "even when she is no longer one of you." Ray met its gaze without blinking. "She was never one of you," he said. "But now, she's more human than you'll ever be." Zira stepped beside him, her spine glowing faintly. She raised her hand not to attack, but to speak. "When you left me to die, I thought I was worthless," she said. "But this human showed me something your kind fears." The wind picked up around them, not natural wind, but energy pulsing from within her. "I felt sadness," she said. "I felt hope. I felt love. Those are not viruses," she added. "They are strength." The aliens raised their weapons, but Zira didn't flinch. Ray stood his ground, and then something changed. The weapons began to crackle, not from firing but from within. Sparks danced around Zira's feet. She wasn't attacking. She was overriding, one by one. The enemy soldiers dropped their weapons. They stepped back, confused, afraid. She's awakening the empathy circuit, one whispered. Shut it down, another hissed. But it was too late. Zira took one final step forward, no longer shaking. If you want to erase me, she said, then remember this moment forever. I was weak, she said. I was paralyzed, but the human heart gave me more power than your perfect system ever could. The enemy ship backed away, defeated without a single shot, not by force, but by something stronger: will, identity, emotion, truth. When it was over, Ray sat down on the platform, exhausted. Zira sat beside him, leaning against his shoulder. I didn't know if you'd survive that, he whispered. I didn't know if I'd walk, she replied, smiling. But I ran. They both laughed softly. Stars glowed above them, endless and silent, but inside, everything had changed. Zira looked up, eyes glowing with something new. Where do we go now? She asked. Ray pointed to the stars. Wherever we want. Kiddo, he said. This time no one's left behind.